Hello and welcome to Ticket to Life. This is Henry. Thank you for tuning in this morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are and listening. I hope that you are having a good day. The last 24 hours of your life have been amazing. But if not, remember, tomorrow's another day. Well, this is a very interesting um, topic. I'm talking about two actually different topics. For one, I'm talking about COVID, and the other, I will be talking about grandparenting, basically becoming parents again. First of all, the COVID is still around. Well. This virus is still around, folks. Just when I started to feel comfortable with no mask. No mask. Guess what? Okay. The woman who said, I haven't had COVID just 2 weeks ago. Yes, I've been very fortunate. I've been taking all the precautionaries. Um, and sure enough, guess what? I got COVID. We had some out of the country guests and they were sick too. So we all got sick together. So our Easter did consist of being confined in the house, but guess what? It was fine. We did not, because we did have the vaccine, and I know a lot of people don't believe that the vaccine helped in any way, but I do, because the symptoms we had were maybe 48 hours, maybe 2.5 days. I don't know. They weren't long at all. But anyway, it was awful. It was a yucky feeling. It was like a bad flu. Um, and I just need to remind people the importance of washing your stinking hands. I don't think we needed a pandemic to remind us you should wash your hands no matter what. Cover your mouth. No what I still see people coughing in their hand and then pushing the grocery cart. No. I see people grabbing certain things after they have maybe just wipe their nose because they sneezed, or people use the inside of your elbow. That's all you got to do. That's all. It's just a good habit to get into. I myself have always, I mean, once antibacteria came out many moons ago, I've just always had it in my purse. You can ask my family. I have always carried it with me. Oh, when I would go to the store, I'd put some on my hand. I'd put some on the cart and clean it, because I remember a long time ago, I saw this 2020 episode, and they got a typical grocery cart, and they, put it under the light and they tested it. Well, there were feces on the grocery cart. And of course, why? You're like, why? Well, if you have an infant, they might have a little drip. Someone who went to the restroom did not wash their hands may have had some shit on them. Sorry. Yes, but that's true. There was traces of cocaine on some carts. It matters where you are, I guess, but yes, they were filthy, absolutely filthy. And to think we go to the grocery store and put our food in that cart and then bring it home. But I've always been anal about cleaning the cart. That's just who I am. I carry Clorox wipes in my car so that when I do go to the store, I like to wipe them down. But it's a shame that it took a pandemic to teach people the importance of washing their hands and covering their mouth, not with their hands when they sneeze or cough, but to sneeze inside their elbow. Yes, back in the day, you were to cover your mouth with your hands. Now, if you do that, because that sneeze just came and you didn't have time to get your elbow on there. Okay, if you sneeze in your hand, don't wipe it on your clothes. Go wash your hands. Or if you have antibacteria with you, put some on your hands and clean a little bit of those germs off. I even clean my hands before I go and receive communion at church. It's just a habit I've developed, and some people may think I'm anal, and I really don't care what they think, but it's just an important thing, and teach your kids at an early age how important it is to wash their hands. It's such a simple thing. I have no idea where we got COVID from, but we are still on the mends. I feel fine. Like I said, I felt yucky for maybe 2 days, 2 not even 2.5. But anyway, luckily, it's been nice here in Texas where we can sit outside and, go for a drive in the car and wave, in a distance to my grandgirls. But you know what? I mean, they've all had COVID, and I literally was bragging about 2 weeks. So that sucks for me because I shouldn't. Somebody said, "Have you haven't had COVID?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." Surprise! It's still there, folks. So just be smart about washing your hands, cleaning the carts, rinsing your fruit off when you bring it home, your fresh vegetables. Just do it for your sake, because people just have a bad habit of not washing their hands. And again, we were hoping that maybe after the whole COVID thing that people would have continued with the hygiene, but I guess not. So, am I going to start wearing a mask again? No, I'm not. I don't like it. Now, if I have to wear it for a while, I will. But other than that, nope, not doing it. Um, unless I absolutely have to. Or if I feel like, I'm going into a germ-infested place, then I might wear it. But anyway, where this is leading to is this is a studies, I'm not sure how accurate this is, but I have read it on several sites and in a magazine. But more than 140,000 US, just in the US, children lost their primary or secondary caregiver to COVID. So the pandemic, even though a lot of people didn't believe, oh, that's not true. The government's trying to make us believe and they're trying to give us a vaccine. Everyone has their own opinion. Totally understand. Everyone should have their own opinion. But don't push it off on someone else. What else? I mean, you can say what you want, but if someone doesn't want to, as long as they're not critical about your opinion, there should be no arguments. I always say I'll listen to someone. I may just say, well, this is why I believe this is happening. But anyway, so 140,000 US children, just in the US. I don't know how many in the world of these poor children were literally left without a caregiver. Now, I'm going back into Ukraine, where Ukraine, Putin, stupid Putin, and I don't like using the word stupid, but I think he has made some really, really stupid things because he wants to be above everyone. Well, guess what? I'm pretty sure he wipes his ass the same way I do, unless he has a bidet. But taking those children from Ukraine to Russia from their parents, who is he to do this? It's wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. They had so the majority of these kids are probably orphans now. So back to, I'm sorry, I got off on something else. But anyway, back to this. Most of the parents, there was either a mom who passed away, a dad, or both. It could have been grandparents who literally were already raising their children, their grandchildren. And now we have children who are in the system. And we all know the system is not so good for some people. And I don't understand how people will foster. Now, of course, this is not everyone. These are just stories you hear on the news where people were foster parents but neglected these children. But guess what? They were getting money, weren't they? They were getting money for these children to help with their food and their clothing. But instead, these low-life scums, what you want to call them, these horrible bums, these crazy people, take advantage of the most innocent human being available, and that is a child. So grandparents, unfortunately, there are so many in our nation having to raise their grandchildren. Now, as a grandmother myself, I've been a parent. I've done that. I know what it's like. It's not easy. Now, if you don't think this will not have an effect on you or someone else, you need to rethink this whole thing of having kids. You know, it's just sad. And again, the whole sad thing about COVID is it was out of our control. It still is out of our control. Yes, you can get vaccinated, which I have done, but you can still get in. People are like, well, see, that vaccination didn't work. I think it did because the symptoms I had, like I said, was just a really bad flu. But these effects not just affect the individual person, it affects everyone around them, their loved ones. I don't know how many people were lost in the US due to this. So, if you by chance know someone who is not vaccinated and you believe in the vaccination, encourage them, but don't push it on them. I'm not saying that it's the cure because obviously it's not, but it could help them. Just talk to them and say, hey, there's this woman I listened to on a podcast and it really seemed to help her. I really believe it has helped my husband and myself. Yeah, I think we're going to, of course, this podcast is being posted way after the fact. So I'm sure hopefully by the time you listen to it, we are negative on that. So that's a one time in my life. I just want to be negative about something. So in my mind, COVID existed and it's still around. So obviously, again, just take care of yourself, because if you have children, you've got to take care of yourself, because your parents, even though they may be young grandparents, they have done their deed and raised you hopefully to be a good person. And just again, I'm going back to the grandparents and parenting and all that, but just to let you know, before, if you have insurance, which I hope most people do, by May 11th is the deadline. You have to get them before May 11th. You can get, I believe it's 8 free COVID tests. You just get on the pharmacy website or their app. You put the information in, and then you go pick up some free COVID test. Because after that, the government and your insurance won't cover them, and they are pricey. I mean, some of them are $20 and $30. But anyway, I won't get off my soapbox on COVID. I keep going back to it. But anyway, grandparents and raising children, reasons we know, of course, was the pandemic was the big one, especially within the last few years. This kind of took me off because I guess I don't realize how bad. I do know how bad the drugs are out. That drugs are out there. We read it and we hear about it all the time. But in 2018, over 1 million, not 1,000, 1 million children were being raised by their grandparents. And you know what the cause was? You're not going to believe it. Opioids. Yes. I can't believe that many people need to have drugs to feel good. I don't understand it. I never have done drugs. I don't eat. I try to take my vitamins daily, but I'm really bad about that. I don't get it. I can't even imagine how many kids are still out there with a parent who is doing drugs. So it's grandparents, they're the backup. They've done their deed. They had the child. They hopefully, were great parents. They got you off to school. You went to college, and your life did not go the fairy tale life you were hoping. So some people have gone to abusing their kids, neglecting their kids, unemployment, incarceration, being put in jail. So the parents, loving grandparents, what are they going to do but raise their grandchildren that their adult children were not capable of doing? I don't think people realize what is going on in a child's life ever. Divorce, a parent, it could be deployed for military, and of course, death. And grandparents are left to take this. And a lot of parents or grandparents may not even be healthy to do this, but yet they do this because they are good people. They are good human beings. Oh, well, they raised that kid. Why is that kid like that? Okay, at one point, you have to cut the cord from your child and not continuously enable adult children with problems. But yet, when a child is in a relationship, in a horrible house situation, a grandparent will jump in. Now, grandparents have succeeded in raising the kids for years. Although, if we as grandparents were exhausted as young parents raising our own children, I can't even imagine raising children, small children in my 60s or my 70s, because my adult children were incapable of being responsible. So if you see a grandparent with a grandchild in the store, and obviously you can usually tell, there are some very young looking grandparents, but kudos to them. Tell them, hey, great job. Hey, you're, and of course, sometimes I go, oh, they run me ragged, but I love them because kids do that because kids are growing up. But if they're in a good place with grandparents. So think before any of you lay yourself out to sleep with anyone. Talk to your kids at an early age regarding sex. We are not living in the 30s or the 40s when it was you just didn't talk about it. It just happened. Grandparents deserve their golden years. Yes, we can help out because we love you. I don't mind watching my grandgirls. I don't mind watching them at all. But I'm exhausted, and my daughter knows this. And it's not like they're terrorists because they're not. They're wonderful. They're sweet. It's just I'm not used to running around half the time like I used to be. Anyway, grandparents do deserve to enjoy their golden years. And again, I realize it's hard and we don't mind helping out ever. But my mom always used to tell me, she used to tell me and my siblings, when you have kids, I will not be your child, your daycare. She planted that seed in my head. So my poor children have had to hear that since high school or middle school. When you have kids, I will not be your daycare. And I'm sure they know that now. But of course, I'm very fortunate that my daughter's a stay-at-home mom. But if that were the case, you do help out because they're your kids. But again, back to substance abuse, I really had no idea. So if you know of any child in any situation, you have got to report this. It is your duty as a good human being, a good person. You've got to report this. Now, there's different numbers for each city and state. I have one number, and I will put it in my descriptions. And it is a child abuse line. But you need to know how important it is. I'll also put the website on there. You've got to know that this is horrible, what's happening to our young children. And then people are wondering why teens are so lost. It's because, you think about it, let's say something my daughter or son decided, oh, well, can you watch the kids? We're going out of the country for a year. Okay, that's a big toll. But we would do it. But as they get older, I would do my best, but things are different, so different now. I'd probably be considered the mean grandmother because I wouldn't let them do anything. But of course, a lot of parents are letting their kids get away with all sorts of crap nowadays, especially, my pet peeve, the cell phone. Having that cell phone is like having that's their god. I mean, that's the kids cannot live without it. It's actually a lot of adults' god too because they feel they can't live without it. I am guilty of it too, but if you had to take it away, I would probably get a little itchy and antsy, but I'm hoping I would survive without it. Well, again, if you do know of anyone who, oh, and I say that, I mean, there are some grandparents that are pretty nasty too, and don't take, and they may have their grandchildren and not take good care of them. So again, let me go ahead and give you this information. It'll be on the description also, but do the right thing. Do not hesitate to report. Oh, I don't want them to find out who called. Screw that. You could save a child's life by doing this. You could save a person's life by telling them to go get the COVID vaccine. So, anyway, and I did forget to mention that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. So that's very important that we do what we need to do to help these kids out. So here is the website. The website is Child Help Hotline. ChildHelpHotline.org is the website. Don't hesitate to get on there if you feel that you know someone who is in need. Do the right thing. Like I said, you could really save someone's life. Wouldn't you rather be able to do that than say, oh, I knew something was going on? There's like this case in Texas right now of a little boy. His name is Noel, and he was special needs. Well, all of a sudden, family members or neighbors realized they hadn't seen him. They had 5 other kids, I think. And so they go and visit, and the mother says, oh, he's with his dad in Mexico. Well, his dad's been in Mexico because he was deported, and they get a hold of the dad. Dad says, I never even met my son. I've been here and just found out, he just didn't find out, but he found out that he did have a son, and but he's never met him. So, they go back to the house. Well, guess what? The mother and the father from India are gone with their kids. They're all gone. Everything's gone. They're gone. So, like I said, it could happen to anyone, and I'm not saying that the grandparents didn't have anything to do with it, but this is crazy. If you know of something, and it took months before someone even reported, hey, we haven't seen Noel. So pray for Noel, and they find him. They're thinking that perhaps he's no longer with us, that they may have killed him. Someone said that they had heard they sold him. But either way, this is horrible. I pray they find that mother and father because they do not deserve those children that they already have. Anyway, I keep going off on things. I'm sorry. I'll blame the COVID. I told my husband I'm blaming the COVID for everything now. I screw up in life, I'm blaming the COVID. Anyway, childhelpline.org. And they even have a live chat that you can, if you don't worry, they will not get any personal information and come ask you questions. And their phone number is 1-800-422-4453. Now, you can even text them at this number, 1-800-422-4453. So there's no excuse for anyone not to be able to report child abuse. Grandparents, again, can do as much as they possibly can. But think about where you're at in your life. And if you have children, do you want to be raising your grandchildren? Probably not. So do your best. It's hard being a parent. It's one of the hardest jobs in the universe. I just want to say, God bless all the grandparents out there who are raising their grandchildren. I mean, again, it's hard being a parent and raising children. I can't even imagine being a grandparent. But again, we step up. Think of all the grandparents who had to step up during the pandemic due to a loss of parent or parents. Anyway, I hope that everyone is doing well. I hope that you wash your hands. That's going to be my new motto, wash your hands. Um, Please take care of yourself and take care of all those you love. Take care of your parents. They took care of you, so it's your turn to take care of them. And I don't mean, oh, some people take that like, oh, well, they're really happy. What do you mean take care of it? Just love them. Give them a call every so often and say, hey, mom, hey, dad, just want to say thank you for all you've done for me. I love you. You know how much that means to a parent? Whoa, it means a lot. So until next week, and hopefully I don't sound too weird because of COVID, but I hope that you have a wonderful week. I hope you have find happiness. I hope that you most importantly find your blessings each and every day. So until next week, this is Henry. Take care and please love your grandparents, love your parents, love your kids.